Nigeria's top newspapers to your radio.
It's from the Dailies, your early morning companion.
Every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m.
on Melody 107.7 FM.
Headlines that shape the nation. Stories from the north, south, east, and west. Brought to you fresh and fast.
With expert analysis, sharp opinions, and sound presenters breaking it all down clearly, smartly, and straight to the point.
Politics, business, security, health, society. Nothing escapes the spotlight.
This is your head start into Nigeria's biggest stories of the day. From the Dailies, news that talks to you. Only on Melody 107.7 FM. Lagos.
From the Dailies on your favorite radio station. Melody 107.7 FM. Stay tuned.
Studio time check, a minute gone past hour of 8 o'clock this lovely Wednesday morning in the city of Lagos. Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of From the Dailies right here on your Super Darwin station, Melody 107.7 FM. We did say this all the time. This is where we get to take you through stories that made it to the pages of the papers for the day. Not just the front pages, but give you some of the details of the stories from the inside pages of the papers. I am Roland Imoyera. Thanks for joining us on this morning's edition of the program.
Well, it feels good to be here. There's the 12th day of August 2026. As I always say, tick says the clock, tick tick. What you have to do quick. I am Matthew Ijabiken, MOI, reporting for data this morning.
Alright, don't forget that as we always do on this program, we open up the studio lines at the right time for you to call in to share your thoughts and opinions on any story that will resonate with you in the course of the program for the day. At the right time, we will be rolling out the numbers to you. But this morning, I'll be taking you through stories that made it to the pages of the Nigerian Tribune as well as the Punch newspapers.
And for my end, I have The Nation and the Vanguard newspapers. Now kickstarting with The Nation newspaper with the big bold one, Tinubu seeks stronger global action against insecurity. And it has this kicker on the root, religions should promote human dignity, tolerance, says Yelwatda. You can find this of this on page 3 of The Nation newspaper. And now moving on, movement of cattle to be curtailed with 6 ranches. Okay, that's on page 7 for details. Away from that, the government policy to unlock $50 billion deep offshore reinvestments. You can find that also on page 2. Okay, still above the masthead, bakers get FCC pursues warning over deceptive labeling. That's on page 25 for details. Okay, moving on. NMDPRA, crisis in Europe should not affect fuel prices in Africa. That's also on page 7 for details. Let me take this one lastly. Aviation unions strike cripples air travels. All of this and more on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning.
Okay, let's just quickly start from the big bold one on the front page of the Nation for today, talking about Tinubu 6 stronger global action against insecurity as the rider under it. Religion should promote human dignity, tolerance, says Yield Watda. All right, I think this is a very strong worded statement coming from Nigeria's #1 citizen, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in this context, where he said he's seeking stronger global action against insecurity. This issue of insecurity, it's like something that cuts across board. What you cannot say because your own region is peaceful at the moment, this will not get to you. So it calls for global collaboration in this context, in forms of information sharing, in form of training and retraining of military personnel and all that. You know, so I know Nigeria has been doing a lot in that regard recently, partnering so many countries around the world, not just even in the African region now, to ensure the country is safe and rid of all these terrorist activities. Now, another one I want to mention is the kicker by the APC national chairman, talking about Imoyera now, saying religions should promote human dignity and tolerance. I think this is something that we really need to look into as a country, thankfully whether we're a country of diverse ethnicity, religion, and we all know how this issue of religion can be very sensitive in the country. We all know when the Christian cleric went to visit the president the other time, we know the backlash and all, and then recently when another Islamic scholar came out to mention, you know, a statement that perceived to be insensitive by some a section of this society. And the funny thing is, somebody will argue is why has the presidency not come out to counter this particular alleged insightful statement? Before now, we'll be seeing people like Daniel Bwala, Mokri, Ambayo Ononuga, you know, really rising up to the defense of, you know, any other issue. But why are they really quiet and silent in this particular one? Let's know their stand, let's know their opinion. Some have been arguing that, but well, the issue of religion is something that we really need to, you know, take seriously in the country. Another one,
should it be said that the president is keeping quiet now because this is in his own favor? Because when it was on Icon the other time that was talking, you know, about, I mean, he actually reacted to that. But now that the Muslim cleric is saying that a Muslim ticket is what we want, I mean, what we need in Nigeria, and that because they are much more than us. Is it? I mean, in a state that allows for diverse religions, we are not operating a Sharia.
In as much as the cleric has a right to his opinion, some might find it very sensitive, especially at this time.
The question you asked was that why is the president silent about this?
Presidency.
So is it because he's a Muslim?
I don't want to look at it from. I don't want to look at it from that perspective. All I want to say is that these guys are quick to, you know, come and bash and say so many things concerning people bullying online, you know, people trying to look at the way they you come after the Archbishop the last time, you know. I would expect them to have used that momentum now to address the situation. But the fact is that whichever way the president, at least let us address this issue. Let's just put a rest to it one and for all. You know, then, the silence sometimes means acceptance if you want to look at it from another perspective. So I feel we really need to hear from them. They have to come and say their own position about this whole inciting statement.
Then that writer says religions should promote human dignity, tolerance. Now, in this context, we know which of the religions is not really. No, let's not go into that. Matthew.
Really? Nigeria is the beauty of the country is that the freedom of democracy is everybody's allowed.
I mean, for a pan that should have taken like up to 900 grams, they can put just 500 grams, and they leave it to rise overnight. So it will rise and fill the whole pan. And by the time you are buying it, it's just a fuke.
All right, now another one that you read out before we leave the Nation newspaper for this morning is talking about the movement of cattle to be curtailed with 6 ranches. I think this is something that's been going on over time. If they are able to do this, I think it will even help to curtail the issue of this farmer crisis. On page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for this morning, we also have this one: 10 police officers, 17 bandits killed in Zamfara Kebbi clash. This morning when I was going through the story, I just tried to wrap my head around it. Killing of 10 police officers in it's actually a lot, you know. Knowing fully well that we don't even have enough police officers to police others, you know, are protected, and we sleep very well at night. And hence the need for these guys to be really motivated, you know. And even those that are wounded, they have hospital bills, taking care of their families, you know. I think these are really areas that we really need to do to just motivate these particular officers now in the fight of against insecurity in the country. Matthew, what do you think?
Well, you said it all. Now, if you are losing 10 police officers, But then it also poses this question that if the mighty are falling this way, or should I say those that are saddled with the responsibility of protecting us are also becoming casualties. What is the fate of the common man?
You are right, Matthew. You are right, Matthew. Well, let's move on to other stories now from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for this morning. The big bold one on the page of the paper says, Adeleke demands Osun senator's arrest. But actually, this is another big story that has, I don't know if you've been following it since yesterday. Adeleke demands Osun senator's arrest, accuses him of calling for the killing of Accord members, says it's a matter of national security. I said kill Accord with votes, not violence. Fadausi explains, police to deploy over 10,000 personnel. I did mention yesterday that Osun State is in the eye of the storm right now. Everything that is coming out, people are scrutinizing every statement. And I wanted it to come out that way, but I think as a public, for someone that has been in this system for years, you're supposed to know the right thing to say. This is a very tense moment in that particular Osun State. Right now, we all know the deployment of troops, military personnel, NSCDC, the police, just in the build-up to this election. Sometimes you see the way these military guys. I saw videos yesterday that the hardware have been deployed. The military hardware has already been deployed to Osun State just for an election. You wonder, is the country at war? Is that particular place at war just for an election, Matthew? That goes to tell you how polarized the system is right the moment in Osun State. Well, the studio lines are open now for you to call in to share your thoughts and opinion on any of the stories that has resonated with you as we have been going along since on the particular this program for this morning.
I wanted to make an appeal to the public because just a while ago I was observing what's it called in Jetigbo newspaper review, also the same program but in Yoruba. You start seeing people calling in and everything. So please, if there's something you want us to do or to add to from the dailies for you to for us to have your participation, please you can reach out to us via our WhatsApp line 0906 201 1077. Again, 0906 201 1077, or on our Facebook platform or YouTube platform at Melody 107.7 FM. Okay, right now the studio lines are open like Roland mentioned earlier, so you can reach out via that number 0906 201 1077 or 0704 800 1077.
All right, let me still continue with the stories from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. You just deviated a bit from our focus for the morning. All right, let's just go ahead now. TUC demands 1,000 naira to dollar exchange rate. Says stronger naira will cut food prices. That's on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune.
But that will not happen overnight. When we are still consuming than we are producing. Do you get? So there are so many things that we need to do to actually boost up our naira to be able to be at par with 1,000.
Aside from that, the over-dependence on the dollar is something else. In Nigeria, we still have people trading even with this this particular currency, the dollar, and these are part of the things that people have been talking about over time. To not even help your currency now to become valuable and all that. All right, let me move on now. Nigeria to benefit from $100 billion investment in oil and gas orders. That's on basis of the paper. Millions of Nigerian children risk losing basic rights without birth certificates. That is coming from UNICEF. ASU threatens strike over haphazard implementation of 2025 federal government ASU agreement. For some time about you, I don't know if you saw this story in the news last week, where the federal government are coming to praise President Tinubu's administration for ending long and incessant strike in this education sector. Now talking about the ASU prolonged strike. Now right now, this is another twist to it this week. They are coming to threatening strike again over haphazard implementation of the 2025 federal government ASU agreement. They are giving 21 varsities 14-day ultimatum. That's on page 10 of the paper.
We always say that children are the leaders of tomorrow, is that not it? And then it's the education sector that will build up these leaders. Please, 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 for the future of Nigeria, for the future of our country, for the future of posterity, as it is always called, please always prioritize the benefits and welfareism of our education.
Apart from that, whenever there's an agreement, who is always reneging on the agreement? Most of the time, they will tell you it's the federal government, they have to go sit back to start negotiating and all and all and all. When you have an agreement with an established, just keep it. Your words should be your bond.
Yes.
The trust, that's what has affected the trust between the led and those that, and the ordinary people, I mean, the leaders and the led. These are things that we really need to ensure we curtail in the country as we move forward.
Let me react to the one you took earlier on when you were talking about Nigeria. Okay, so that part of birth certificates, millions of Nigerian children risk losing basic rights without birth certificates. Now it comes, I mean, the question was, when you were reading was, are there children that are not registered? Are there children without birth certificates?
Oh, so many kids are registered in the country. Yes, so many deaths are unregistered, just like birth now are unregistered.
Come to
now, what about in the rural areas where people don't even have access to, or they don't even have the idea that you need to register your children? What do they do?
This 21st century, 2026,
give birth at home. Of course, Matthew. Is this surprising to you?
It is. I was saying.
It's not surprising. It shouldn't come as a shock to you that we still have. I won't be surprised that even in this Lagos they will have 5 kids that were not registered after birth. So these are things that now this brings us to the need for advocacy. This is the UNICEF talking. What is our agency, like the National Orientation Agency, doing in things? I mean, in time of trying to educate the people, sensitizing the people like this on the need to ensure that you register your child. Most people is when they want to get admission into universities, that will start going to sign affidavit in the court of law, just to. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, if you're saying university. All their levels of education, as they build up to university, primary school, secondary school, they never.
Some might not see the need for it until when the time comes. That's just it. That's when they start going around trying to lobby one way or the other, trying to rush to sign one affidavit, in one place or the other, else declaration and all, just to have the legal tender to present in that context. So I think UNICEF is in the right track now, trying to ensure that we are, sensitized in this perspective, Matthew.
All right.
Yes. These are the stories we can take from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for this morning.
Okay, now moving to the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, all right. So we have the major headline here saying Osun decides candidates talk tough, unveil plans for states, and the details is on page 8. It has a few kickers. I'm a bulldozer, not afraid of federal might. APC governors. And that's credited to Adeleke. Oyebameji downplays the federal might, vows to banish poverty. Well, let's see how that goes. We will build on past governors' achievements, and that's credited to Salam. Controversy over Senator Fadauns's comments. All of this on page 8 and 13, pages 8 and 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. Moving on above the master, federal government backs a regional petrol pricing benchmark for West Africa, and that's on page 22 for details. Away from that, 2027 article raises concern over outdated beavers. That's on page 32 for details on the Vanguard newspaper. 5% TSC. Passengers stranded as unions protest grounds flights in Lagos, Abuja. That's on page 9 for details. Away from that, infrastructure terrorism. How scavengers wreak havoc on public facilities. That's on page 2 for details. Incitement, CAN, PFN, NHRC, Kwankwaso Noka, Sheikh Jinger. That's on page 5 for details. Okay, Jonathan's 2015 sacrifices saved Nigeria's democracy, says Nenadi Usman. Okay, all of this. Okay, let me take this one lastly. Also orders 20 varsities to prepare for strike. Gives federal government states 14-day ultimatum. All of these and more on the Vanguard newspaper's front page this morning.
I just hope the government will be proactive in this contest, not reactive like we always see most times. Don't wait until 24 hours to the deadline and start calling for emergency meeting they have enough time. This is 14 days now.
They should implement whatever agreement.
Whatever it is, they still need to dialogue to arrive at a consensus to, at least just put these guys' minds at rest and say, okay, we have your interest at heart, we're working towards it. I hope they will not wait until the dying minute or until these guys finally declare a nationwide, the strike action election.
And when two elephants are fighting, it's a grass
that will suffer. Yes.
Because students' life and welfareism is at stake in this matter.
Yeah, right, Matthew. Because of our time, let me quickly punch this one from the Punch newspaper for this morning. Fubara lawmakers battle stalls Rivers 1.85 trillion naira budget. A lot has been really going in Rivers State in recent time. But let me move on. No difference. What's breaking Nigeria apart? I have a comment from President Tinubu. When I read the statement, I was impressed because this is very timely for coming from the president going into this election period when everywhere is tied up and polarized. He said no difference is what's breaking Nigeria apart.
Whether religious differences, whether cultural differences, whether ethnic differences.
Yes. You know why I love this president? He knows what to say as a president to just douse this tension sometimes. Yeah, but let's move on now. Passengers stranded as unions ground air peace flights. It's on page 33 of the paper for this morning. Obasanjo Obi demand major shake-up of democratic institutions. You can get that on page 9 of the Punch for today. Now, the big bold one on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Osun election, 10 battleground local governments that may decide Adeneke Oyebamiji race. You want to know that? Pick a copy of the Punch newspaper for this morning. 224 dead, 700 injured as powerful earthquake rocks Colombia. That's rather sad one there. Police plan fresh security roadmap ahead of 2027 polls. 10 corps, 2 civilians killed. 17 bandits neutralized in Kebbi. That's on page 4 and 5. Modular refineries shun domestic crude over high cost. You can get that on page 20 of the Punch newspaper for this morning. Now, those are the stories you can get from the front page of the Punch for today.
Well, on that note,